right, away we go. And this is December. Test is December 2024. It is H31. And the first one's just a plug-in. If you want to plug in f of 2, you plug in 2 here, and the answer is 2b. Next one, we have a total payment of $9,000 for the tractor, and we down pay $900. $900 means we're going to subtract $900 from that and still owe this much, and then pay it equally over 36 months. So it's 36 divided into 8,100. Answer G. C, 3 is an unusual plug-in. Whenever they do an unusual operation like star, they're plugging in A as the first number. Does that make sense? B is the second number. C is the third number. D is the fourth. So in other words, 4 is A. I hope I'm making sense. 3 is B. C is 1, and D is 2. That's an unusual start. So we're just going to go A times C plus B times D. So the numerator is 4 plus 6 is 10. And the denominator is A times B, 12, minus C times D, which is 2. So the answer is 10 divided by 10, which is 1. Number 4, we're going to drop the lowest test. Always like teachers that drop the lowest test. So which one is that? The 71. So you're going to add up these 4 tests and then divide the addition by 4. I'll spare you the time and expense. The answer is J. This is a classic. Usually they'll draw it, but the rectangular field is 300 by 200, and you're going to put a parking lot inside that's 225 by 175. So most of it, huh? And what is not in the parking lot is the answer. So it's 300 times 200, which is the whole area, minus the so-called parking lot or shaded region, 175 times 225 for your final area, which is 2625. So what is that? That is the answer B. Classic, and these are tough. This test was tough. 26 students, 14 are in choir, and 18 of them are in band. Well, that's 32 students, huh? So out of 26, so 6 of them must be in the intersection. Answer G. I always do this. If the 6 are in here, that means you subtract. That means 12 are in band, but not in the other. And then if you take the 6 away here, it would be 8. So there would be 8 in choir, not in the band. So there's your 26 people, 8, 6, and 12 right there. Classic, I've got 8 jeans, 4 coats, and 4 shirts. So you just times them together for how many outfits there are. Answer E. This is actually a program. You could do FOIL for this, and that would be 3x plus 2 times 3x minus 2. So it would be 9x squared minus 6x plus 6x minus 4 for 9x squared minus 4. I like to show off the programs. The program FOIL would do that to you if it's a problem. and that's where you just enter the coefficients 3, 2, and 3 minus 2, and it will FOIL those binomials for you. Notice the answer is zigzaggedy, 9x squared plus 0x plus a negative 4. So the middle term got canceled out with that typical, you hear this word on the test too, the conjugate. Number 9 is next. You have $25 to spend on camping supplies of some of the items. I buy one broom and one rubber mallet and 2 forks. So what's that? That's $3.45 plus $6 plus $3.25 twice, so $6.50. How much does that make? $15.95. So you have $25 to spend. So you go 25 minus $15.95, huh? And that's how much you have left to spend on the forks. I'm sorry, the tent stakes. So how much money can I spend on tent stakes? That answer divided by 120 helps to have the calculator handy. You can buy 7 stakes. You can't buy the 8th one though. It's an automatic round down because you only have enough to buy the 7. Watch that mistake. The answer is A. This is a classic, 425. 3/5 are enrolled in geometry, and 1/5 of those, so you just times, huh? So 425 times 3/5. I just go times 3/5, and then I just times it by 1/5, and that's how many got an A. 51 people. That answer is F. Very good. All right, this one's not too bad. The 360 is the sum of all the angles and arcs, and they want to know DEA. So this one is 90, like his brother next to him, and this other one is what's left of the 180 semicircle. So it would be 180 minus 108 minus 18. That would be 54, I believe, and then plus the 90 right here. So it's 54 left, 90 left. Answer B, 144. This one, I think, counts as one of the trig questions. The circumference of a circle is pi d. Now, the circumference of a circle is how far the wheel takes you in one spin. So if we went m miles, that's 5,280 m. That's how far we traveled, which is basically all of our circumferences, huh? So which of the following gives the number of revolutions? So we would divide that by pi d, and that would give me counting the revolutions. So a revolution divided by the pi d is the answer. This one, you could use the matrix program, but it just means distribute the 3. I think I showed matrices in class. It's 3 times alpha F3, and then you just enter the numbers of that matrix. So it'd be -2, 1, 0, 5. I think I have to edit the 0. I'll edit the 5. And there it is, -6, 3, 0, 15. but most people would remember that as distributing. This one would be a 42 rail, 40-foot tall, a vertical rod, rather, casts a shadow 14 feet long. Well, a vertical casts the shadow 42 feet. This is similar triangles. So I do it 42 casts a 14, so x would cast a 42. Cross multiply, divide. You should get 126 for the answer. Systems of equations. This is a ABC of what's called simul. I'll do my program for that. So I go program simultaneous equations. It's in the back. So I go up through the back, and you just enter the coefficients. It's 1, 2, 8. 1, enter, 2, enter, 8, enter. And the other one would be what? -2, 1, 14. And it's -4, 6 for the answer, huh? Okay. By hand, you would have to do a lot more, but you would line them up. And I would times the first one, I would times the top one by 2. And then add them up. The x's cancel. 5y is 30. Y is 6. 6 is another program. It's called TrinFact. It's how you factor trinomials on the computer. The numbers are 1, -13, and 30. A is 1, B is -13, and C is 30, A, B, C, and it gives you x. Notice it's plus or minus 3 and plus or minus 10 for your answer. This is a circle, and the center is 0, 0. Why? Because there ain't nothing out there, or rather inside the x. And then the radius, r squared, is 36. That means the r is 6. Most can tell that right away. 36 means 6 and 6. Okay, so if there were 1,000 vacuums, the numbers, company finds, what is the probability that one of the 1,000 vacuums was sold 3 or 4 months after it was manufactured? So this is 3, this is 4, so it would be these 598, add them up, and divide by 1,000 vacuums. Watch out, you might do the total here, but it says out of the value, out of the vacuums that were manufactured. All right, what's going on here is isosceles triangle, and the parallel means the z-theorem. F down here is alternate interior with the 34. I called it the z-theorem when I taught geometry. If you're inside the z, you're equal. The fact that it's isosceles means that the bases are equal. So they're both 34 because of the isosceles triangle theorem. The angles opposite the equal sides are the same. So they love to do isosceles triangle. Notice neither one of those is the answer, though. It's the one here that completes the line. So the answer would be 180 minus 34. Pick an irrational number. Irrational number would be like pi or square root of 3. Well, if you times it by 5, what about it? It's still irrational. G. They've been loving number 21. what would be the speed 45 miles per hour in feet per second? Now, the feet is 1 mile is 5,280 feet. I knew that one, but they gave it to me anyway. The harder one is changing the hours to seconds because 1 hour is 60 minutes, and 60 minutes, or rather 1 minute is 60 seconds. In other words, 60 times 60, 3,600. So the answer is going to be, let me get this program out of the way, 45 times 5,280 divided by 60 twice, and we know that as 3,600, so it's 66 for the right answer. That would be C. This just means add the functions. So it's h, which is this one, plus g, which is that one. So you add the like terms, and what do you get? You get h, negative 2z squared minus 3z plus 16. Now, they asked about 3 rides, the Thunder, the Gateway, and the Cyclops. They're going to do conditional probability on me. Because what is the probability that a randomly selected rider that picked Gateway? So we're only dealing with this. The other informations are useless. So that a Gateway said yes is 98 out of 169. So I'm going to pray that that's one of the choices, because 98 said yes out of the 169 asked about Gateway. So it looks like about 0.58. Yay! That is answer C. 24. This one is a right cylinder circular cone. Well, that's an ice cream cone. And it has a volume. Now, they do give me the volume of that. So the volume is 1/3 pi r squared h. That's a good formula to know that a cone is always the area of the base times the height. But since it's pyramiding on me, the 1/3 is in there. Now, what do we know? We know that the answer is 616. And don't we know the height is 5? So we're going to solve for the r by timesing by 3, and dividing by 5 pi to get r squared, So these guys come over, the times come over as division. That's an equation solving technique. And then you solve by square rooting the whole thing. So it should be the square root of all of this, since we're solving for r squared. Answer G. 25 is a surprise. If you're not a trickster, you're going to be bothered. Sine squared plus cosine squared of any angle is always 1. So this is 3 times 1. In this case, they pulled a double angle on you. It wouldn't matter if that said anything in the world. It's still going to give me the answer 1. What's this? This is asking you what the y-intercept, so the total weight is 6 times m plus 9 and that's the number of cookies we put in the carton, huh? So the weight of, say, if there was 10 cookies in the carton, would be this. If there were 12 cookies in the carton, it would be that. Well, what's that? That's the weight of the empty carton. That's if we had no cookies in there, it would still weigh 9. So that's cool. They're testing you what the y-intercept really means. Classic. We put the fish at the bottom, huh, for the alpha, and sine stands for opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite side is 144, and the hypotenuse is 145. And the tangent stands for the opposite over the adjacent. We didn't need that. We could have done the leg program to get that 17. And I just learned me a new triple. It's the 17, 144, 145 triple. I never heard of it till I took this test. Now, what's the cosine? Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. It would be the 17 over the 145. What's going on here? The first 3 elements are shown to be squares. Now we're just going to pick me up. And what is the total number of squares in the first 6? So this one's 2 by 2. That's 4. This one's 3 by 3. That's 9. This one's 4 by 4, 16. The next one's 5 by 5. And the last one's 6 by 6. Oh, they wanted 6, so the last one would be 49, huh? So they wanted the 6 squares for the 6 elements. Now just add those up on your calculator. 54, 54, 90. I think I got 139. I'm trying not to waste video time. I just put all those and add them on my calculator. Don't think I'm that smart. I did the test about 3 times to get ready for the video, so I knew the answer. The length of a rectangle A is equal to the length of the rectangle B, but the width of A is 6 less than the width of B. So they have the same length, sorry for the drawing, but the width here is 6 more. Maybe y'all do length and width differently. It really doesn't matter. But look at what they're doing. They're doing perimeter. So when you add up these 4 sides and these 4 sides, you'll get 12 more because of the 6 twice. Otherwise, all the measurements are the same, right? So it would be 12 more for the bigger one. All right, what's going on here? 2 fair dice. One has 6 faces, 1 through 6. And the other 8 faces. If you've ever spun a dice like that, they're fun, they're unusual. What is the probability that the sum would be 12? Well, first of all, how many outcomes are there? 6 times 8 is 48. We kind of, that ain't too smart. All the answers are 48. Now, how are we going to get 12? Well, we could do a 4 and an 8. That would be one way. We could do a 5 and a 7. That would be one way. And a 6 and a 6. So there would be 3 ways to get 48. Which actually reduces Mathafracca to 1 over 16, but the choices did not make me. This one came out bad. They're shading on the things. They shaded the odds. So 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9 were shaded. So given that the pointer stops in the shaded, well, that changes the whole game because now there's only 5 total stops. Now, what's the chance that it's a multiple of 3? Either 3 or 9. 6 is missing from the list, so it would be 2 out of 5. Watch that. A lot of times when I copy the test, I'm sorry, the shade doesn't come through too good. Famous, y'all. G of f of x. So you copy the f, which is x plus 2, and you plug it into G. Plugging into G means you're replacing the x down here with whatever it was. G of 5 would be 1 over 5 squared. G of x plus 2 is 1 over x plus 2 squared. Answer H right here. Love that problem, y'all. What's happening here? Rectangle, the quadrants. Oh, what percent of the area is in quadrant 4? Well, the first thing is you have to construct what this is. It's 3 times 4, which is 12. I get that by counting my lengths. Huh? Negative 1 to 3 to 2, 3 is 3 units. 2, 3 to 2, negative 1 is 4 units. So the answer would be 12. Now, what percent is in quadrant 4? You have to just plot point G, which is 2, negative 1. So only an area of 2 times 1, 2 is in quadrant 4. So take your 2 divided by 12. Normally I'd say math frac, but here it's 16.16 or 16%. Answer C. Hey, we're doing this in algebra. Distribute the 4 and c squared times c. Believe, that's all, folks. It's answer K. Let's see, they're looking for the slope of best fit. So I might just take 2 points randomly. Like this point looks like it's about 212 or 211. And this one looks like it's about 3017. Now let's do a slope on that. 211. Of my slope program. 211. Now remember, this is guesswork. It's not exact. And we're going to get a slope of what? 3/14, which is about 0.2, 0.21. This is total guesswork. Now, what do you think the answer is? Well, it's not negative, because negative lines would fall, huh? And I don't think it's 0, because 0 would just be flat. And I don't think it's 1, because that would be more a 1-to-1 ratio. This is about 0.3, so we took 2 flatter ones, but that's going to be the right answer, D. All right, nothing like using I. 9I minus 2 is available on the calculator. Second decimal times what? Oh, I love this. 3 minus 5I. We don't have to do anything, and we can take our break with our brains, huh? And we get 39 plus 37I. Bada bing. They put the I first, which is rare. Usually you put it in the back. Okay, you're undefined if your bottom is 0. So x plus 2 equals 0, negative 2 is the answer. By the way, guys, it doesn't matter that it cancels. You do your restrictions before 4, you cancel. So you might have got that wrong if you had thought that. Here's a classic simul. Can you hear it? 5 gourmet chocolates plus 10 premier chocolates, or 35. 6 gourmet, 6 premier. You could divide by 6 and get a better picture. But for us, this is calculator city. 5 simul. 5, 10, what was it? 30, 35. 6, 6, and 22.68. Watch out for the question. I didn't want this to be in decimals, so I would get it as a 149 divided by 100. And how many of those did I get? I had 2 gourmets, so I would times it by 2, and I would add 229 over 100 and get a decimal answer. The fraction kind of ruined it. 527 is correct. Ooh, watch your reading. I had trouble with this because I didn't see the not. All of them work. When you divide, you would get -6. That's this one. -6 times 1/3, you'd get that one. What is a negative exponent? You flip it, you'd get that one. That's also 3 minus 5. E is the only chump in the house. Let's do prime numbers. So let's make A 17, B 13, C 7, and D 5. Well, which of these will be the biggest? Well, certainly not these. They have a smaller number over a larger number, so they're dead. It could be the whole concept here is you want the biggest over the smallest. So the answer here is G. The biggest is 17 over 7 would be bigger than the others. You could also type them in if you're not too confident on your calculations. All right, I hadn't seen this in years. The old auxiliary line. So you make another parallel, and that's going to give you both answers. This one's going to be 37 because of the z, what we talked about before. And the other one is going to be 33 because they're supplementary. 147's at the top, 180 minus is at the bottom. So it's 33 at the top and 37 on the bottom, a 70-degree angle. The Quadratic, great program, Quad 2002. So here we go. We just go to my Quadratic and hit 113. I hope my students got this who took my class. It solves quadratics, and I think that's the only funky one on there with the I, huh? 1 plus -1 plus or minus root 11 I. So that was the only one with I. You might have seen that coming. Oh, another one had an I, but it's not perfect. Another one where we have to calculate across, so 211 to 1211 is 10. That makes the square base of this thing 10 by 10 by 10. Now here's the harder part. We've got to slide from 24 to get the altitude all the way to 12. So that's an X slide, so the altitude is 12 for this. You got me? Which means all of these are 12. It's a perfect pyramid. So you've got the square base, which is 10 times 10, 100. That's the square. and you've got 4 triangles, which would be 10, 12, I have no pride, area of triangle program, what is it? Altitude is 12, base is 10, so that would be 60. So you have what for your answer? 100 plus 4 60s. So it would be 340, answer B. Where do they intersect? They intersect where they're equal. And what would I do? I would turn everybody to the right, add 4x squared, subtract 10x, and subtract 1. And honestly, I would put that into quad 2002. So you got your money's worth today. Quad 2002 will solve that equation and give you the 2 answers. Huh? So what are they again? 4, -6, and 2. And I think this comes out even. 1/2 and 1. Now they're only going to give us one of the answers. This is x is 1/2, x is 1. So all of these could be, or that one. And it ends up being F, because if you plug in 1 here, you get 7. Notice if you plug in 1/2 here, you would not get 1, and you would also not get -1. So those are good x's, but bad y's for the answer. Hypot program works great. If you give it the A and the B, it should give you C. So for example, the answer here is going to be A. 1/2 and 2/3 do not give you a hypotenuse of 3/4. So if you do 1/2 and 2/3, you should get 0.75, which it doesn't. I don't know why it's doing the undefined. It's close, but it's not. But if you just hit enter, you stay in the program. Notice if you hit 3 7s and 4 7s, it's going to give you the answer 0.714, which is 5 7s. Some of y'all see how they're the same. Some of y'all will recognize these triangles. This is the 3 4 5. This is the 5 12 13. This one is the 6 8 10. And this is the 8 15 17. 8 because it's 8/4. But all of those would work. Now, the domain, you plug in -6 and you plug in 9. I could do STO for this also. Does everybody know how to do STO? You would go -6 STO x and then hit -1/3 x minus 5. And it gives you the answer -3. Now this is going to be a reversal. This is the small plug-in, but it's going to give you the largest answer. And then who's the other one? 9. Show you a little trick here. Here we go. 9 STO x, enter. And then you just have to hit alpha, enter, and it pops up the function again. And you get -8. Isn't that cool? A teacher showed me that years ago, Mr. John Garst. So the answer here is G, because this is the 2 ranges of the plugins. All right, another ABI. You can add 10 minus I. I won't even bother with the parentheses, although you probably should. 10 minus I, and what's the other one? Plus 8 plus 6i. It's just adding like terms, folks. Don't be scared. And then they just want the product of 18 times 5. So the answer here is 90. B. Okay? Man, you never check, cannot be determined, but that's the right answer. The reason is this 30 alternate gets you 30, but you just don't know anything else. You need some other information, like any one of these other angles would get it, but I don't see it. And then when you start thinking about it, does that line have to be there? It could also be straight up, like it can tilt, because that wouldn't change the information that I got. Long division. When you divide by x minus 1, you put 1 in the shelf. Boy, I hadn't seen this, never. And you put the coefficients. I have 0x to the 5th. I have 0x squared. So that would be, there should be 8 members. Now how do you do it? You drop the 1, you times and add. Drop the product, times and add. And the remainder is the last one, 0. Remainder theorem is also the plug-in. So you could have done this by plugging in 1. So those of you who have done remainder theorem recently in Algebra 2, you could do that. Deviation. So y'all, the mean is 100, so 100 sitting right in the middle, and the deviation is 20. So you could be 1 out. The next one out would be 140. That'd be 2 standard deviations. Same goes for the lower scores, and that's the way they're distributed. Now, who's within 1 standard deviation? Everybody between 20 minus and 20 plus. Answer 80 to 180. Hyperbola. That's this guy. That's a sine wave. That looks like an ellipse to me. I don't know what you call that. I call it a V-graph. It's the absolute value graph. And this one's the exponential graph. So I don't know if that helps you get this right, but a hyperbola is the, I call it the ellipse turned out. So you take the ellipse, instead of folding it in, you fold it out and disregard what's in the center. So that's what I do when I'm teaching it right now. Who's the biggest? Well, as x goes to infinity, all of these get big, but it's the highest power that's the biggest. So how do they rank? This is just power 1. He ain't too good. This is just a parabola. He's high, but he's not as high as a cube. But look at choice A. It's AB to the infinity. So this one's got an infinity power, so he's kicking butt on everybody else. That's a little calculus limit language for you. The highest power is the biggest dog. These weren't too bad. Usually these ones with 3 are nasty. To the nearest, what is the percent increase in Julia? She went from 35 to 55. Now, what's percent increase? Be careful. It's the increase over the original, not over the final. It's always over the original. So she went up 20. She went up 57%. Choice D here, huh? Julia's typing speed on at least one day was 50. No, that's not true. Just because she went in this mode doesn't mean she ever did 50. She might have never done any of the numbers except for the 3 we saw. Julia's typing speed on at least one day was 1 more from the previous. I don't think so. She went up 25 in 99 days. So I don't think that means she had to go up at least 1. Her average is way less than that. She might have, but it's definitely not. Notice must be true. And Julia's maximum typing speed was 55. That's a sucker bet. She might have been great on days 97 and 98. She might have been 70 on those days. So none of these are true. That was kind of a sucker. Which of the following is closest to the average rate of change from the first day to the 99th day? So that means her change was 30, huh? She went from 25 to 55 in 99 days. So that's our average change, 30 over 99. So take 30 is the change, 99 days. She went up about 0.3 a day. And look, it's perfect. It's 303. Oh, they did 306. So that would scare me a little bit. But that's the change. That's her rate. You got this one wrong. Yay. When you dilate from a center A, I had to get my geometry teachers to help me. You keep A fixed. That's why it's the center. It's the so-called fixed point. So you have to keep A at negative 2, 2. Dilate means increase by 3 over 2. So this one was 2. If you times it by 3 over 2, it becomes 3. And this one was 4. If you times it by 3 over 2. So the answer rectangle should be 3 by 6. And I think it's H. Because it's starting here. That's 3, that's 6. And look at what goofball me did. I said, oh, A's got to be in the middle. Don't listen to anything I'm saying now. So I thought it was that one. So there you go. A teacher of 37 years, and I blew it. Have to have a slope of 2. You can plug in till you get the slope of 2. So it'd be negative 1, 1 in the slope program. The first point was negative 1, 1. And the second point is 3 and one of the choices. Now I think it's, I think it's 9 for the answer. And you look for a slope of 2. Yay, I got it. And an equation y equals 2x plus 3. If you got it wrong, you keep going and enter somebody else. So you would hit 3 and what was one of the other choices? 8. So 8 would be not a slope of 2, and you would keep going until you get it right. Okay? So E is the answer. All right, the closers are tough. This one, we're going to translate it 3 units to the right. Now, I'm a zeros guy, so this 0, 3 would go all the way to 6. Huh? And this 0, negative 2 would go all the way to 1, and the parabola would look like this. So if it's got zeros here, answer opposite. It's minus 6, minus 1. Okay? And then here, surprise, I was shocked. They never do this. You plot the point negative 3, 7 with a triangle. And the SOHCAHTOA is set up for you. Do program hypot. We probably don't need it here, because you see the 58 as the right choice. But if you did hypot, You could do -3 and 7, and it'll give you the square root. Oh, it didn't define. There it is, square root of 58 for the hypotenuse. And then what is the cosine? The cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so it's the x over the hypotenuse, -3 over root 58. And finally, the last one is a and b are less than 0, so I just pick numbers. Notice a over b is less than 1. That means b has to be a taller negative. So I would make that, that would make the top has to be smaller than the bottom. So a minus b would push you to greater than 0, J. Watch that. When I read it, I had it upside down. I said, oh, A's got to be bigger. No, that would be true if A over B is less than 1 was greater than 1. So that's what I did, is I stowed numbers till I figured it out. Okay?